Hello again, I'm Bob Weir with another interview of candidates for elective office. Let me first of all wish all of our viewers a happy St. Paddy's Day.
Yes.
And my guest is from the old sod, just as I am.
Yeah.
And my guest is Place 4 Councilman Don McDaniel, who is running for re-election to a second term. Thanks for being here, Don.
Thank you, Bob.
Please begin by telling our viewers something about your background, education, occupation.
Well, my family and I moved here about 18 years ago. I'm a stay-at-home parent, take care of my family, although now I have one in college and my youngest just started driving, so my stock as a stay-at-home parent has been diminishing by the minute. I have a business that I run out of my home, and I'm actively pursuing a career change at this point, so working on that, trying to get back into the workforce, which is an interesting task after being out of the workforce for 17 years, so I'm working on that now.
Oh, that is interesting, yeah. All right, let's begin by this question. How would you describe Flower Mound to someone thinking of moving here?
It's a family town, plain and simple. Everything about this town is about families. Our neighborhoods, our open space, our parks, our fantastic school system. It is about families. And I have really worked hard, it's what I ran on last time, to continue to broaden that. I want to find ways to be able to keep our parents and our grandparents here as well. And I think we've made great strides to that end. So off the bat, it's a family town, everything about it. But we need to work harder to make it a multi-generational family town. And that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. If you could change something about our town, what would it be?
I think we're well on the path to this, but I really would love for Flower Mound to be a little less contentious, a little more neighborly when it comes to solving problems, when it comes to addressing big issues before our town. We're getting there, but there's things that have caused us to kind of have setbacks as well. The internet and Facebook kind of allow people to act out in a way that they wouldn't necessarily if we were talking face to face. And so I think we're figuring that out as a community, how to be more collaborative, how to be more neighborly, how to be more friendly in addressing issues and things before our town. But I wish we would do a little better job.
Yeah. Yeah, you do see a lot of that on social media. People,
Absolutely.
People can get really cruel and vicious on social media. They wouldn't really be like that if they were one-on-one.
Of course not.
People,
Of course not. Absolutely.
What do you think are the significant issues facing Flower Mound going forward?
I think the big issues are figuring out how to balance out our tax base to relieve some of the tax burden from our homeowners. We have lots of opportunities to do that, but in doing so, we need to make sure that we maintain the balance that we have as far as being that neighborhood, that family community. We have to balance those things. The good news is Flower Mound is positioned in a way and laid out in a way that we can do that without having a detrimental impact on our neighborhoods and our communities that are already here. So we need to balance out our tax base. We need to figure out how to manage that growth in a good and positive way. And in so doing, we will strengthen this community and make us more financially strong moving into the future without further burdening our homeowners.
Don, what is the business to residential ratio of taxes now? Do you know?
It's somewhere between 70 and 75% of the burden is on homeowners, and between 25 and 30% is on businesses. And I would like to see that get a little closer to 50-50.
Yeah,
our neighbor to the south, Grapevine, they're flipped the other way. They're about 25% on the homeowners and 75% on business. Now, we're not Grapevine, and we don't have the same opportunities that they have, but I think we can get closer to that 50-50, and we do so every day. Every day, every time we add jobs, every time you hear about a business opening up shop in the Lakeside Business District, or a new restaurant opening or whatever, that further goes towards balancing that, and that's really the goal, right? Is to take some of that burden off of homeowners.
I'm impressed with the increase in the ratio. I think it's been great the last decade or so.
Absolutely, the councils prior to this one and this council have done great strides to get us to where we are now. The groundwork was laid well before my time for Lakeside Business District and those types of things, and we're starting to reap those dividends. So,
All right. How about what position did you take on the Morris Road expansion plans?
My primary position starting was that we needed to address it. That was my position. I was accused of having a position prior to that. It's not the case. The reality is the ordinance was written in 2010 that put us on the path to where we were this last fall and where we currently are. My only position on it at that time was that it needed to be addressed. And that's what we've done. We brought it forward, and through consultation with staff, listening to our residents, many conversations there, and really looking at the need and the studies and all the data, I think we've come to what's ultimately going to be a good compromise. It's going to allow us to have as much capacity as makes sense in that area, while still respecting the neighborhoods surrounding Morse Road and the school district or the school zones in that area and the safety of our residents and our children. And that's really what it's all about. It's about working through the issue and coming to a compromise that works best.
I want to move to the Riverwalk and to the question of apartments that often comes up. I know that there is a maximum number of apartments that can build at the Riverwalk. I think it's 1,200. And some people have a lot of negative views of apartments because they worry about transient behavior and poor maintenance that might affect the quality of life in town. Do you think they have reasons to be concerned?
I certainly understand where that comes from. I understand where that concern comes from, because in a lot of other towns that happens, right? Apartments get built, and then for whatever reason the property values drop. I'll give you an example. The boom and bust cycle in West Texas around the oil and gas industry. When oil is doing well, apartments get built because they need places for those workers to live. And when there's a bust cycle, or when a downturn in that economy, the land values go down, the investment in those properties go down, there's not as much people renting, so the demand goes down, so the maintenance goes down. We're lucky in this area that we're not tied to the import-export business, we're not tied to the oil business, we're not tied to the forestry industry. Our primary economic driver in this area is the airport.
Right.
The airport is not dependent on any one industry. It's not going to take a dive, a financial hit because of any one thing. Now, will the airport diminish as the overall economy does? Absolutely, and everybody would be subject to that. But our property values here are going to be able to maintain a certain level because we don't have that boom bust issue of a production type of economy.
Okay, let me move on to Lakeside. How do you feel about the progress over there?
It's fantastic. Obviously, my family and I spend a bunch of time and money over there. We're regulars at Epic Gelato and Mio Nono, and certainly the movie house. If you check my Facebook feed, any given weekend we're there seeing a movie. We love to go to the movies. It is really, I think, a true boon to our community. As soon as homes or apartments get built there, they're sold out. It's the type of environment and living that people are looking for. It's what they want.
Let me quickly move into Lakeside Village.
Yes.
That's coming. What do you think about that?
Again, fantastic. I think it is really the right type of project for that area. That being said, we've never done anything like this before as a town. There are aspects of that and things that we need to consider. A TERS district, incentives, the layout, the design. We need to make sure that we are honoring what the plan was,
right,
and that we're being fiscally responsible. We can't just bull rush into this. I'm a big fan of the project, but I also am a fan of doing it right, because once it's done, we can't redo it.
And we recently did a video with Richard Myers and Jimmy Archie.
Yes.
About the Lakeside Village with a lot of information, so anybody wants to know more about it, including they showed on the map. So it's very important.
And they do have a great Facebook page with a lot of information, absolutely.
All right, we're coming down to the wire, so I'd like to ask you if there's anything you want to add about your candidacy.
The thing that's I think differentiates me from my opponents is that I strive very hard to make fact-based decisions. Sometimes that's hard, and sometimes it gets a little ugly. The sausage making of working through the numbers, working through the data, asking the questions, sometimes can be a little bit unnerving. But at the end of the day, if we all work together to make decisions based on facts and not emotions or anecdotal thoughts or ideas, we'll all end up coming to the best kind of compromise and the best solutions for our town. So if you're looking for somebody who will consider all the options, who will make fact-based decisions, I would ask for your vote for Don McDaniel, Flower Mound Town Council Place 4. Fact-based decisions.
And you have a Facebook page that more information on.
Absolutely, you
Facebook.
can find out my thoughts on different issues. There's lots of information. My bio is on there, and I invite people to come there. I will also be having some town hall meetings. Those will be posted, and we'll be able to talk and meet and get together and solve problems.
Well, thank you, Don, very much for being here. And
Thank you, Bob.
And good luck in the election.
I appreciate you.
And thank you for watching.